All right, welcome. Thanks for coming. It's great to see you all. Today's webinar is brought to you by MCSC Women's Business Center. We're a nonprofit business center serving entrepreneurs in SLO, Kern, and now Monterey counties. Today's webinar is being sponsored by the SBA, Wells Fargo Bank, Pacific Premier, and the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. Their generosity allows us to offer this webinar, mentoring, and our entrepreneurial training courses to you at no charge. So thank you, sponsors. We offer free assistance and entrepreneurial training to budding entrepreneurs and small business owners. We have professionals in social media, e-commerce, business plans, licensing, funding, tax planning, and recovery strategies. If you'd like to talk to someone about your business, please give us a call. Our contact information is on the screen. So before we get started, I just wanted to mention a few housekeeping items. Please limit your distractions and mute your phone. This is a webinar, which means that your webcams are off and you are muted. If you would like to participate, and we hope that you do, this is an interactive panel discussion. You can put it in the chat box. If it's easier for you to speak with your microphone, let me know in the chat box and I will turn on your microphone for you. Let's see, this webinar is being recorded and we'll send you the link once it's processed. In fact, you can see all of our recorded classes on our YouTube page, and I'll put that in the chat, that link in the chat box shortly. I did want to find out how you heard about us, so I was going to launch a 30-second poll. So if you could go ahead and take that, that would be great. So I'm going to stop my share. Hello. So for small businesses across America, 2020 has been one of the most challenging years in history, but small business owners have been resilient, adapting their business models and navigating change. In fact, a recent survey by the Central Coast Coalition of Chambers revealed that 45% of respondents were optimistic about the economy. And it's with that sense of optimism that we are here today. We're going to discuss the emerging trends in small business and in consumer habits. We'll also be identifying opportunities and giving you the resources you need to take advantage of them. Our panelists today are Liz Christoffersen and Allison Shiavo. Liz Christoffersen is the founder and CEO of Empower Consulting Group. She's recognized as a savvy business strategy and leadership expert. Her mission is to empower women to prosper in business and lead in life. She consults with leaders around the globe, including the National Women's Business Council, LogMeIn, GoTo, LifePlan, and more. She's also the instructor for the Women's Business Center entrepreneurial training course called Explore Design Launch, which graduated on Tuesday. Her expertise is instrumental in helping budding entrepreneurs turn into their dreams into reality. Liz will be talking to you about small business trends and current research on consumer spending. We also have Allison Shiavo here today. She's the area manager for Eckerd Connects, operator of America's Job Center of California in SLO. Her team at Eckerd Connects provides no-cost employment and training services to adults, dislocated workers, and youth ages 16 to 24. She helps employers partner and develop and maintain a qualified workforce. She'll be talking to you today about resources that can help you with your staffing needs. There are staffing needs out there. We've all experienced them, so that's why she's here today. So we're going to start with Liz, who's going to talk about small business trends and consumer habits. So Liz, go ahead.
Thanks, Barbara. Just if everyone could be patient for a minute here, I'm going to open my screen and see if we can. Oh, goodness, it's not letting me go where I need to go here. So sorry about that. We'll. There we go. Everybody can hopefully see that now. So thank you so much, Barbara and Mission Community Services, for inviting me. I'm really excited and happy to be here. And as Barbara said, I am just grateful. We graduated about 16 entrepreneurs Tuesday night. And that's exciting. That's exciting for our local economy. It's exciting for the prospect of new jobs in the marketplace, and it's certainly a step forward and in the right direction. So what I'm going to share with you today has a lot to do with just research and data and information. And it's part of what I do as a strategist, is to figure out what's happening in the bigger world macro to micro, and then look at, okay, well, what does that mean for, the clients that I work with locally in different parts of the country? And we're really in this place where we're mapping out new territory, right? Where we're beginning to look ahead and to really reimagine life and business. And some of the things we're seeing is that people really want to find a place. They want to find the right experiences in their shopping experiences. They're looking for DIY innovation. So over the course of the last year and a half, we saw a lot of people get really creative about how they use the space in their home, about creating things to help them live life in a way that was safe and good and help them do the work they needed to do. Sweet Teams is really all about employees and employers and having to reshape the employment experience from a business owner perspective, right? So when you find that person who's just a perfect part of your team, you also want to look at the ways that you can help them to stay with your company and to evolve and grow with your company. Wanderlust is one of the things that's coming up, and that's really all about us getting back to that place where we have joy and serendipity in how we live our lives and how we work. From a business owner or entrepreneur perspective, we want you to think about redesigning your infrastructure so that you're really bringing delight to the customers that you're going to work with, right? So from that first moment to the very last moment that they do business with you, you want them to have a really, really wonderful experience. So it's all about reimagining and repurposing the kinds of experiences that you offer. So think about immersive art installations. Over the course of the last few months, these have become popular. And instead of going to a museum and seeing paintings on the wall, now we're seeing these installations where you go to a space and the art is literally projected all around you. So you become a part of that immersive and beautiful piece of art. And so it becomes more than just going to a physical space and seeing something on a wall to actually you being part of the art exhibit and the emotional experience of what that is. The other thing that we're looking at is this idea of empathy and being challenged as business owners to make sure that our narratives, the messages that we put out from a marketing perspective, are really all about understanding that we live in a world of expectation and scrutiny. And more than ever, consumers are asking us to help them find meaning. So according to Forbes Small Business, what we expect to see for the remainder of this year and well into next year is an expansion of e-commerce. So figuring out ways for your customers to do business with you in an online environment or a transaction, a touchless transaction environment where they can go and they can order and pay and then, pick up. Think about stores like Target. Target offers an online shopping experience where you can put everything into your cart, you can pay for it, and you can actually make an appointment to pick it up curbside. Those online/offline hybrid shopping experiences are things that consumers are really looking for. The other thing we're seeing is what we call new market expansion. So it's where a coffee shop, for example, that really focused on providing coffee expands their offering to include food items or other things. Another great example that came up was a home cleaning service provider, so someone who comes and cleans your house. Instead of just doing that, they also now offer products that you can buy that they can leave behind, right? So Susie comes to clean the house on Thursday, and by Tuesday or Wednesday, I've sent her an order. These are the cleaning supplies that I need for when you're not here, and she brings them with her when she comes to clean the house. Another great example is the landscaper who starts adding things like pest control services or creating lighting, putting up the little lights around your house and in your yard to create an experience for you. So those are a few of the things that Forbes is predicting. In addition to this emphasis on retaining existing customers, more than ever, making sure that you have a great long-term relationship with the customers that you have is going to be a powerful indicator of your success in the future. So you can do things like having them sign up for ongoing products and services. We're seeing that in a great example of hair salons that you pay X amount of dollars for your regular appointment and your haircut, but if you pay for a membership, you get a discount on that. So basically you're saying that I'm going to be there every 6 weeks or whatever that time frame is to get my haircut. Rewards and loyalty programs are big, membership, subscription services. These are all things that consumers are looking for to help you retain them for business. As far as employees go, what Forbes is saying is that employees are looking for flex time. They're looking for the opportunity to work remote if that works for your business model. And there's this whole discussion right now about independent contractors versus employees. Benefits are a huge piece of the puzzle, but more important than anything, especially with the millennial generation, communication, authentic, true communication with leaders in the business about the things that matter most is a really important indicator for someone who's in a company. What we're seeing right now is people, really good, high quality people, leaving, right, in masses in lots of different industries. So it's important for us as business owners who hire employees or independent contractors to be thinking about not just what we need for our business, but how can we attract and retain the right people? And how can we ensure they have the skill sets that we need for them to do the work we need them to do? Creative financing is coming up, like emergency funding, making sure that your invoices and your accounts receivable are tracked and accounted for on a regular and consistent basis. Crowdfunding and microloans are projected to increase. And probably the biggest thing that we're seeing from a trend standpoint is just this idea of contingency planning or emergency planning, right? So having a plan in case something happens for yourself and in your business. And on the consumer side of things, Microsoft just released a really great report about what's going on the consumer side of things. And so they're saying in some marketplaces, consumers are shifting to local shopping. So they're looking for those retail shops, right? The places where they want to go and shop. They want to do good for their community. So they want to spend their dollars locally as opposed to always thinking about shopping online. They also talk about this idea of in our homes, that people are rethinking their living space and they're really looking for do-it-yourself help, do-it-yourself trends, right? So think about like Home Depot, like Lowe's, all of the things that they offer quite often are do-it-yourself kinds of things. So depending on what your business is, if you're an architect or an engineer or you're an interior designer or you're in the business of landscaping or helping people with their homes, you might think about the kinds of do-it-yourself projects that you could create and offer. Mindfulness and inclusivity is really a primary focus. And that really speaks to health and wellness, right? Of course, in the past year, we've become keenly aware of health and well-being. And so all of the things that a consumer is looking for in relationship to mindfulness and inclusivity has to do with, am I in a healthy space? The people that I'm doing business with, creating safe ways for me to shop and do business with them. Does this add to my wellness or does this create more stress, right, in my life? Obviously, travel has been a big deal. We've been talking about that a lot, seen that in a lot of different places. People are starting to reschedule trips, starting to get out and about, but consumers are still very wary and very concerned about that whole travel experience. Physical and virtual reality is really all about things like contactless payment, right? And that becoming more and more sort of the standard that the consumer is looking for. So again, it's back to how am I going to buy what I need to buy from you, and how am I going to do it in a way that either allows me to do it online or allows me to do it without having to have a whole lot of contact, right, during that moment. So again, think back to that target model. I can shop online, I can place my order, I can pay, and then I can make an appointment to have it put in the back of my car curbside. So we want to be thinking about, from a consumer standpoint, just life reimagined and mapping motivations. And what that's really all about is really thinking about this idea that Right now, consumers are abandoning brands that don't support their values. And their values have shifted and changed. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And what they're willing to do is to pay more for those that do align with what those values are. So this whole experience that we've been through has caused us as consumers to look inward and to really elevate our relationships and our responsibilities and to reevaluate our priorities. And that's led us to a place where we understand the power of our purchase decisions, right? We can influence our community and our environment by the purchase decisions that we make. So right now, consumers are saying, should I stay with this brand or this business? Am I willing to pay what I need to pay in order to continue to do so? Or am I willing to pay more to make a switch that's more in alignment with the things that are really important and of value to me today? So values today that consumers are focused on, and this is a trend research that was just released in the spring. So it's fairly recent. It's been shifted around a little bit. But today what's important to most consumers is family first, home second, well-being and health, the senses, so the, taste, touch, smell, hear, those things, being in nature, so that natural experience and connections. So understanding their values then helps us to understand more of their motivations. And the motivations have to do with, these are the things that I'm going to be thinking about in addition to my values when I have a shopping experience, right? So my health and convenience and service are really important and really high on my list. So if we use the gentleman at the computer screen there working away, as he's thinking about the things that he needs to do for his wife and his child and his home, right? He's thinking about their health and well-being. He's thinking about how convenient. He's thinking about the level of service that he can count on from the service providers or the businesses that he's going to do business with. Something that's come up pretty high that hasn't in the past is origin. So people want to know where things are coming from. If I buy tomatoes, if I buy a new car, if I buy a computer, today's consumer wants to know where those things came from. And the last thing, and probably the most important thing with relationship to motivations, has to do with trust. They want to know that they can trust you to not only deliver on your promise, but to fulfill, alignment with their values and their motivations, but also their expectations. So the expectations that consumers have now have to do with longing, intent, ease, and perspective. And that's all about, like, given this scenario that we've dealt with in the past year and a half, what have I been missing and what am I longing for right now? What matters most? Intention is all about, do I really need what I'm going to spend money on? And what is it giving me in return or exchange for the dollars? And is it easy for me to make that purchase? Is it easy for my family? We have a brand new perspective as consumers, right? And for us, what matters most is our family, and want to make sure that wherever we're spending our dollars, that it still fits for us and for what we dream of or what we perceive is best for our family. So Accenture did some research, and what they're talking about is a difference between our traditional consumers, so pre-COVID consumers, and now consumers today, right? Consumers today want ease and convenience. They want service and personal care. They want trust and reputation. They're looking for the origin of the product or the service, like where it's coming from, and they want health and safety. And those are the things that are the new motivators. Quality is a big chunk of that, but they're willing to pay the price for the right product or service. So as a business owner, some of the things that you can think about have to do with these next two slides, which are about consumer insight. They're questions that consumers are asking. So when you think about your business, you want to be thinking about these things. So health and safety, are you keeping us safe? Service and personal care, do you remember me? Is the experience really wonderful? Ease and convenience, is it easy to do business with you? Product origin, where is this coming from? And are you taking responsibility? Is this a sustainable choice? Is this good for my economy locally and my community locally? Can I trust you, right? Can I trust that your company is who it says it is and stands for the things that you market about? Today, we are also seeing some great trends. Shop streaming is this opportunity where people can go to these virtual experiences where several stores have come together to share different products. Think of QVC, the channel on television that allows you to buy lots of different things. We're seeing that translate to shop streaming sessions on the web. Vertical veggies, which is all about vegetable gardens being grown in vertical spaces. So people who live in the city who maybe don't have access to a farmer's market have the ability to grow vegetables on their patio. Digital doctors, this is all about the virtual visits, the telemedicine, using technology like what we're using right now to be able to be in the same space. And then, of course, home design for health and well-being. So standards around air, water, nourishment, light, fitness, comfort, ease, things like that. Human contact is also a premium, so people are really looking for and hungry for being in the room, being in the space, having that connection, right? Preferring that over maybe a virtual experience. And something that's really, we're seeing an awful lot of is what they call cancel or call out culture, which is where the consumer recognizes that their voice has power, and where they spend money, they want to know that those brands stand for something that they believe in. So for us as business owners and entrepreneurs, it's time for us to reimagine, to build a better world for us all, to take this sort of white space of opportunity that we have to rethink, recalibrate, re-engineer, to invest in learning and knowing more about our customers, to look at how we can to create experiences that meet their rising motivations and demands, how we can structure our organizations to create profit as we shift out of this, you know, that top picture where we're in masks and gloves serving our customer to what the new evolution of business is going to look like. So what can you do for your business right now? Well, I'm going to suggest and invite you to join us for our Explore Design Launch program, which runs September 14th to November 16th. It's 10 sessions on Tuesday from 4 to 6:30. For more information, you can go to the MCSC website under classes, or you can email Barbara. It's a great opportunity to learn more about how to prepare your business for what's coming in the marketplace, how to create a business plan, be served by a community of care, and to meet some really great folks who are entrepreneurs as well. So thanks, Barbara, for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Liz. We actually have a couple graduates of that class on the call today, so it's nice to see you all. Yay! I did want to open it up for questions. I was going to go straight to Allison, but you covered so much, and I just wanted to give people the opportunity to ask questions. So if you want to put in the chat box any questions that you have, we can address those now, and then Allison is going to talk about how to find the employees that you need.
Yeah, because employees are an important part of that whole experience, right? If you don't have the right people and they don't have the right training and the skills, then all that energy and effort you spend on marketing to get them in the door gets lost. Right.
So Andrea is concerned about COVID and photographing people in the studio. Did you want to address that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can, because I actually do have some clients who are photographers. There's a number of different things that you can do, especially given the scenario that we're really uncertain about what's going on with all of this. So you can, couple of things is a liability disclaimer, right? Just asking the clients that you work with to complete a document that indicates that either they've been vaccinated or they understand the risks and they're releasing you from any and all liability now and in the future. So that's one thing. You can set up some COVID protocols around cleaning, around sanitation, around space. You can encourage people, instead of doing photography in the studio, like especially here, because we have great weather, are there places, locations that you could go that are outdoors that wouldn't require so much close contact? So hopefully that helped you out, Andrea. Is that Andrea? I guess it is Andrea. Yes.
Okay, so while the rest of you guys are thinking about your questions, I wanted to hand it over to Allison, who is going to give us some great ideas about how we can find people to work.
Thank you, Barbara. Share my screen.
There you go.
So thanks for having me today, Barbara. Yeah, it's a tough time for recruitment, and we're coming up against a lot of competition and challenges that are new to us because of COVID. You know, the unemployment rate was fairly low prior to COVID, and then this has just made it even more of a challenge. So what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today is who are the job seekers in our community. I'll give you some ideas about recruitment strategies that might be outside the box of increasing your hourly wage offered, because that's not really possible for many of us. And then we'll talk about services that Eckerd Connects and America's Job Center can offer to you while you're recruiting and trying to retain employees. Eckerd Connects is a nationwide nonprofit, and we offer Job Corps, workforce development, juvenile justice, and child welfare services throughout the nation. Here in San Luis Obispo County, we do workforce development services, and we receive federal and state funds, and they're administered through the San Luis Obispo County Department of Social Services, which means they're free to you and job seekers in our community. And why we're here is to connect job seekers to employers. The business is our end user, and we exist to meet employer needs right now and in the long term. And we do that by supporting job seekers through work readiness. We fund skills development and training. We help people understand what it means to be a good employee, how to communicate to an employer their unique selling point, what their transferable skills are. We help them decide on their next job, look at career opportunities so that they can get into self-sustaining wage or family-sustaining wage work. I'd like to start with just a bit about what the local labor market looks like. Here in San Luis Obispo County, the June numbers came out last week or 2 weeks ago. We have a 5.8% unemployment rate, which is the 10th lowest in the state. There are about 7,600 job seekers in our community currently. And in June, the largest employment gains came in trade, transportation, and utilities, about 200 additional jobs in June there. And job losses were reported both in education and health services and government. Those are seasonal and anticipated in many ways. So that's a pretty normal number. And then this is what our job seeker community looks like. So this data that you're seeing on the screen is from January 1st of this year through June 30th. So it's Q1 and Q2 data. There were 1,859 job seekers who registered for the first time for work. So most of this is due to unemployment insurance, and they have to register in the system. So that's where we're getting this, is mostly unemployment insurance benefits data. 73% of the people looking for work right now are under 45. 39% of them are between 22 and 32 years old, predominantly women. 58% of them have a high school diploma or lower in education. 84% are unemployed, and 11% are working part-time. This is important to know because as you're going out to recruit, you need to know who's searching, who can you match with, and target your recruitment efforts to meet the demographics of the people seeking work now. A few things about COVID-19's impact on the labor market. 2/3 of all COVID job losses were related to entry-level low-wage work. Mostly, as you probably can imagine or have read, it's leisure, hospitality, education, health services that are increasing, and a lot of retail sector, food service workers have been impacted. So a lot of youth and people sort of at the lowest income level. And currently people aren't going back to work for a multitude of really valid reasons, some by choice and some not so much. Expanded public benefits are probably your biggest competition. Right now, someone who's on unemployment is making at the full amount of unemployment, $18.75 an hour, full-time equivalent. We know that those benefits will end September 6th, which may change the landscape of the job seeker community. We don't know. Other things that are impacting people, lack of childcare, fear and uncertainty. They have realized that they can make gig work for them. And so they, I don't necessarily need to go back to food service when I can make maybe a little bit less, without the tips, but I have a higher quality of life. This was something that Liz was talking about earlier, right? It's a culture and values choice that they've made. And then other people aren't going back because they've decided they're going to make a career change. And when we see people like that at the job center, we have conversations with them about, you can expect to make a little bit less, somewhere between 60 and 80% of what you were making in your last job if you're moving careers, switching industries. Other things that are impacting the labor market, internet connectivity. 9% of folks don't have internet, and it's essential for job search, for education, and for work these days in many ways. And so that can be a challenge for people to either get into the job or retain work if they're being asked to work remotely. Some industries that have demonstrated ongoing continued growth: healthcare, business, building and design, transportation, manufacturing. And what we all know is business rules really have changed, and they're not looking like we're going to get to go back, right? There have been forced innovations, and that's sort of where we're going to sit, I think, hopefully, in the long term. So let's talk about what that means for recruitment. It's tough. We're having a hard time too. We have more employers calling us than we do job seekers coming in seeking work. And if we had a magic wand, we would certainly use it. But as we work with employers who are hiring on, there are some things that we need to do and as business owners and employers to make our place of business more appealing to employees. The power has shifted from employers being able to just, post a job and have, 15, 20 applicants for every job available. Now we're talking to employers who have posted for 2-4 weeks and they're not getting a single person applying for the job. So there are things that you can do. You're certainly the expert, and you're welcome to call us and run ideas by us. We worked with a business in Morro Bay recently, and they advertised 2 consecutive days off. And that was something that they knew that they could offer that some of their competitors weren't offering. So that's one of the options. As the employer, if you can't pay $18.75 an hour and you're competing against people with benefits, unemployment insurance benefits, what are the benefits and perks at your place of work? When I was younger and I worked food service through college, I got to take a meal home. Right? At the end of my shift, I took a meal home. Is that something you as a business can afford to offer? Could you offer meals to not only your employee, but their family as well? Think about those things. You may take for granted some of that stuff that might just be all the employee needs to know. So you want to highlight those things. You may want to consider a childcare stipend. If you can't pay an hourly wage, and we know employees aren't going back because when they do a cost benefit analysis, they realize that, at the end of the month, if they're paying all of their wages to childcare, maybe it's not worth going back to work. So can you offer a little something? Can you have flexible work hours? So maybe they can do work outside of the normal business hours so that they can work from home with their kids there, and then they can participate in their child's education during the day. Get creative with where you look for employees and look outside your sector. This is all related. So we know that many people searching for work now are younger. So where can you go to find them? It may not be the traditional means. You may want to check out social media. And if you're hiring for positions, what are the transferable skills? If you've always hired people who have only done the type of work that you do, talk to us if you need some help, but what are some of the transferable skills? You may be able to pick up people from outside that sector. As you're reviewing resumes, don't just look at the work history, but look at what skills are embedded in the job and tasks that they've done in the past, and get creative with who you choose to interview. You may want to consider employee sharing. If you can't afford a full-time worker, is there someone in your neighborhood or someone who operates a business similar to yours where you can coordinate and have that one employee work part-time hours for you and part-time hours for your neighbor or your friend, where that employee will get a full-time work experience, but you're not the one who has to pay all of those things. Offer some training and advancement. You know, there's that WIFM, right? Employees are looking for what's in it for them. Can you offer opportunities for advancement? Can you have a mentor in the business that can help them learn new skills? Can you pay for a class at Cuesta or through a continuing education program that might help someone see the long-term path that they have, that this is a job now, but as I do this work, it's going to benefit me in the long term, maybe not with you as the employer, but it might help with retention, right? To keep them on for a period of time. And it doesn't cost as much as paying a higher hourly wage. Eckerd Connects and America's Job Center has free programming for you to help you as you're recruiting and retaining employers. I had just mentioned, you know, paying for a class at a community college or through extended ed at Cal Poly or one of the UC programs. We can pay for that for your employee so that you don't have to if you partner with us. Some other things we offer for recruitment and retention support: paid work experience. So what happens here is the clients that come through our program get skill building and work readiness support, can become an employee of ours through Eckerd Connects. We carry the liability and workers' compensation, and we match our participant to what your hiring needs are. So if you don't have enough money to hire on, but can't expand your business because you don't have workers, but you can't afford the workers, we can bring them to you. All you do is, you know, supervise them and ensure that they turn their time card into us twice a month. And we pay for everything. There's no commitment to hire on the back end. It can be 5 hours a week to 40 hours a week. And we make sure that we find the person who's going to be the right fit for you. We just put someone at another nonprofit who was able to do social media marketing. They had an event coming up and they needed to bring on some support to help market the event, talk to vendors, do all of that work. We had a participant do a paid work experience with that nonprofit, and it lasted 3.5 months. And she got a good letter of reference. She got market wages from us, Eckerd, as the employer, and it met the business need in the short term. So that's an option. Depending on how you bring someone in, it can be anywhere from 120 hours to 480 hours of paid work experience. This is also a pretty good try before you buy kind of a scenario. If you know you need to fill a position, but bringing someone on, all the HR paperwork, if you'd like a working interview, we can pay a person to do this for you. And then if you like them, you take them on as a regular employee. And if you don't, then you send them back to us with some feedback, hopefully, that we can provide to them. And then we move on to the next person, or we maybe recruit directly for you. Other options are on-the-job training. This is an opportunity where the employee becomes yours, and we reimburse you 50% of the wages to offset the cost of bringing someone onto your team. You are the employer of record, and we reimburse you. So what we would do here is we would help you recruit to fill the position, and as you identify an appropriate candidate, we sit down and identify their KSAs, where their skills gaps are, and we establish with you a training plan. And if the training plan is 600 hours, then we reimburse you 50% of their wages for that 600 hours. You pay them what you would a normal employee. They become part of your payroll. We just did one now. It's the employee starts on Monday at a manufacturing company. We're going to do 916 hours of an OJT for someone who the employer identified. And this is sort of how we've had to pivot out of COVID. So typically, historically, we've placed our candidates at a business. But now, because there are so few candidates, the business, you can do your recruitment, you can post the job wherever you do, LinkedIn, Indeed, Craigslist, wherever. And when you find someone who you think is going to be a good culture fit, then you send that candidate to us. Then we come back to you with, this is the number of hours that we can fund based on that individual's background and work history. And this is nice because there's no extra layer of recruitment that there used to be, publicly funded programs. There's rules and hoops, but there are fewer hoops these days. And so you interview someone, you like them, you say, hey, this person's a great fit. You send them our way, then we come back and we build this training plan. We're calling it sort of a reverse referral. And so it takes a layer out. It makes it a little bit more streamlined for you. We also do recruit, screen, refer services. So you send us a job description and we find people for you. And we do a phone interview or a face-to-face interview if that's what you need. We help you identify, the deal breakers and the things that the must-haves and the wants. And then we'll refer over people who are qualified and meet your criteria. The reason that we're helpful in this way is because we have access to CalJobs, which is the statewide labor exchange tool. Everyone who's on unemployment insurance has to put their resume into the CalJobs database. And so we can call them, ask them if they're interested in a position, talk to them about your business and what your needs are. And if they're interested, we can sort of move forward that way. We're also a resource beyond just recruitment and retention. That's our scope, the employment piece. But if you're having business needs that aren't met, or if you're curious about tax credits and other resources in the community, we're happy to help you with those as they sort of emerge. We offer events. We had one yesterday, and Barbara in the Women's Business Center was there. If you're recruiting, or if you have some talent needs down the line, projected needs, you can always let us know. We host quarterly, typically we host quarterly job fairs. We can do targeted recruitments as well. Here are a couple that we've done recently. And we have 2 locations. We're in Atascadero at the County Office of Education, and here in SLO. Please give us a call if you have any questions or employment needs, recruitment needs. If you've got people on your team now who you're struggling to retain because of skill gap issues, you're welcome to give us a call. We can explore training opportunities for that particular employee so that you can retain them. Sometimes it's just, they maybe overstated their ability in Excel or something like that. And now you're realizing that they're not meeting your needs. You can send them our way and we can help them get the skills that they need so that you can keep them on.
All right. Thank you so much, Allison. We actually did have a couple comments. So April suggested mileage reimbursement, auto allowance, lots of ways to supplement outside the payroll. That's a biggie because gas is going up again. And then April also said that she was at the job fair and she was looking for an email that she hasn't gotten yet. So are those going to be sent out soon? Do you know about those? April, we will make sure that we get you the email, whatever that email is. Thanks so much, Allison. There's so many great resources out there, and all of the resources Allison talked about are free. So I wanted to talk about some of the free resources that MCSC has as well. And those really speak to what Liz was talking about, getting on top of what the consumer wants, speaking to what the consumer is looking for, being the brand that they want to identify with. So I am going to share my screen and show you some of the people that we have who can help you. Where's my screen sharing? There it is. All righty. So we have a team of 23 consultants who can help you. I'm only going to talk about some of them today, but I'm pretty much a fan of all of them. On the screen, you'll see the big picture consultants. Sometimes we get lost in the minutia of business and forget to look where we're going. These professionals can help you develop a business plan, ask the right questions, and keep you moving in the right direction. They can also help you with accountability, which is tough sometimes when you're a solopreneur. So these people can help you be accountable. All the consultants here have started businesses, and a few are serial entrepreneurs. One of them just launched her 5th business. They've walked the walk. Each has a particular style and personality. And when you call for assistance, we'll talk to you about your goals, get a sense of where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, and match you with a consultant who matches your needs and personality. We're a team. So you can start with one, and then if that one doesn't match or they don't have the skills that you're looking for as your business grows, we have others that can help you. So these are the ones that are kind of big picture. They all share an interest in helping small business owners, and they want to make an impact in SLO County. So we also have specialists. These are professionals in their field, and they want to make a difference with small business owners. They include a writer. We have a couple writers actually, but there's only one pictured here, 2 CPAs and a technology expert. These consultants delight in helping others, and each brings passion about their expertise. Taxes, writing, and technology can be difficult for small business owners. And Liz mentioned, as did Allison, that technology is a big part of being employed these days. So we have these specialists who can help you with those things. And then we also have marketing, because marketing is key. You can have a great product, but if nobody knows about it, then they're not going to know about you. So it's a broad topic. It includes social media, video, websites, TV, podcasts, content creation. There's also live streaming now. It's how you tell potential customers who you are, what you offer, and why they should do business with you. Simply put, marketing tells your story. What we're learning at the Women's Business Center is that different cultures respond to different marketing. So what works for one may not work for the other. So these consultants can help you figure out who your customer is, how to capture their attention, and how to make the sale. Each of them is passionate about marketing. Marketing people just love marketing, and they're very excited about it, and they want to share it. And they love working with small business owners. So that's this group of people. So I wanted to open this up for questions again to find out if there's anything that you're experiencing in your business that we haven't mentioned that you want to talk about. So I'm going to stop my share. All right, so while you're thinking about that, I'm going to tell you what we have coming up. So as Liz mentioned, our entrepreneurial training class, Explore Design Launch, that's starting September 14th. And that's really for people who are thinking about a business, or you're new in business and you want some accountability and some direction. We also have an Ascent class, that's tomorrow, and that's about the SBA's program, specifically designed for women entrepreneurs. It's online, so it's available 24/7. It has a variety of journeys. It's a great resource for female entrepreneurs. And then on the 11th, we have Fuel Yourself for Your Vitality and Mental Clarity. And this one is really focused on self-care, something that we all need a little more of these days with what's going on in the world. And then on the 18th, we have Etsy. And that's going to be, if you want to start an Etsy shop, if you have some products you were thinking about selling, we'll help you figure out how to use Etsy. So I'm going to check one more time for questions. And if we don't have any more questions, then we will go ahead and let you go on your way. Let me find my little questions. All right. It looks like everybody has their questions answered. I invite all of you to give us a call. We're here simply to help small businesses. So let us help you. Let us know what you need. We're happy to help you. Thanks for coming, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.